Good morning. Well, it's a balmy 22 degrees out. Whew. For the last handful of years, we've spent pretty much every winter either in the tropics or chasing warm sun. So all of a sudden a winter in northern Idaho doesn't seem like a great idea. But that's what we got. We're going to deal with it and we're going to try to get some stuff done today. So we're going to see if we can get this old beast fired up and see if we can't get ourselves some logs ready to mill. Hopefully this thing will start. This is an old John Deere 310A, 1982. It's almost as old as me. I don't even like to start in the morning. Let's see how this goes. Jackpot! Alright, gonna let this warm up, scrape some ice, and then we're going to get some logs. Well, this is about the easiest tree we're gonna get. This is right off the road. Not overly large, only about a 12-inch diameter base, but should make us some lumber to build us a shed. All we gotta do is cut off the stump, take off some limbs, and drag her home. Okay, getting to work. One down, got about 1 million to go. Timber! Boom, that was pretty good. On the side of the tree.
Nice.
High five.
Well done.
We actually hit where it's supposed to go. Now, so far we drug 2 logs out of the woods that were easy access. They'd already fallen down from storms, but those are the only easy ones we could find. Everything else, we either need to make a road to get the backhoe closer, or we need to buy a couple more 100 feet of either chain or cable or rope to drag them out. So rather than do that today, we took one down. Didn't want to do that yet, but that's all we got. We're trying to get a shed and a kiln built before the next round of storm or next round of weather comes in, which is only a few days away. So gonna limit up, drag it out, and we're gonna fire up the mill and make some lumber. Hopefully we'll start framing a shed today. It's pretty exciting. All right, see ya. Well, we're just about ready to fire this bad boy up and make some lumber because we're building a shed. Pretty exciting. You might be thinking, a shed? Big whoop. And you're right, big whoop, a shed. But this is crucial for a few reasons. One, we got to get everything stored off the ground, out of the snow, because once it starts really snowing, anything that's left outside is going to be lost under a pile of snow until springtime. So making some shelter so we can store stuff inside is kind of a necessity. But probably more importantly than that is that this shed is going to be a big experiment. We're going to figure out how to use this mill efficiently because we have a whole lot of things we want to build with lumber that's going to come off of this. So we got not only a shed, but a solar kiln to dry lumber, a big shop. Well, when I say big, relatively. A shop for sure, as well as a house. We need a little practice working this thing before we get to things that need to look good. It doesn't really matter what a shed looks like. It's just a shed. Right now, I can already tell you we've run a couple of logs through this, so you didn't get to see the virgin trial run. But that's probably a good thing because we sort of struggled our way through it. Well, I can tell you a few things about this mill. One, it's a lot more difficult to put together and set up than I thought it would be. It took us 2 days to build it and another full day just to get it square, level, plumb, and cutting like it should. So we got 3 days into just putting this thing together and getting it set up. The other thing I can tell you is that once you do get set up, it's awesome! It's really incredible. It cuts like butter, and minus the few first boards we make that look butchered and are an embarrassment to woodworking, the next bunch of boards are gorgeous. Probably the most beautiful lumber I think I've ever seen. And we're just using it for framing a shed. So it's an experiment in just figuring out how to work this thing. Also, it'll be interesting to see how many trees or how much lumber comes out of a tree. I have no idea how many trees it's going to take to build the shed. Do you? At this point, your guess is as good as mine. The other big thing is that we're going to be building this with green lumber. If you don't know much about lumber, green just means it's not dried. It came out of a tree yesterday, got milled today, and tomorrow it's going to be framed. It's going to be wet wood. So I'm sort of interested to see how this is going to turn out. Green lumber as it dries is going to twist and move and do all sorts of funny things. So it's good that we're building the shed first, because it might look hideous when it's done. But we're going to figure all that out as we go. It's a big experiment, and you're coming along with us. So I'm going to fire this up and start pumping out some more lumber, because we got a whole bunch we need to make this thing. All right, here we go.
1, 2. Once this log was turned into 14-foot 2x6s, well, Brenda and Sarah took over on the mill, and Chris and I got started framing up a floor.
Look at this! We got a floor! That's what we call progress. So since this is green lumber, this, when it dries, is actually going to twist and move and do all sorts of funny things. So in an attempt to keep things, well, locked in and not twisting around too much, we are using these galvanized ring shank nails, which these things hold like crazy. It's almost like screwing something in. So this will help keep things together. But the other thing we're doing that's probably more important, well, maybe, I don't know. This again is an experiment. We're trying to figure this stuff out. We are using this anchor seal product. This will seal up the ends of these boards and hopefully prevent moisture loss too fast out of the ends and prevent these boards from splitting and checking. Like I said, it's an experiment. We're going to see how this goes. But I do have to say, not all these boards are perfect. I'm not going to claim that at all, but some of these things are gorgeous. They're incredible, really. And working with green lumber, if you've ever done any kind of woodworking, this is a pure joy. It cuts like butter, nails pop in like butter. It's great. Okay, back to it.
As much as this little shed was an experiment, it was also strangely satisfying to see our very own trees turned into our very own lumber, which started to take shape into our very own shed on our very own land. And I'd say that after a pretty good day's work, with quite a bit of progress to show, Chris definitely deserved his just reward. And after 2 days worth of work and a couple of more logs processed on the mill, even Brenda was looking pretty impressed.
Good morning. Well, we've made quite a bit of progress. We got a shell up. But, unfortunately, Chris and Sarah had to go back home. They got real life stuff to do, work and stuff. Oh, jobs. I can't imagine. Well, we're down to the wire. Tomorrow, there's supposed to be a bunch of rain, then freezing rain, then snow for as long as the forecast goes. 10 days out, snow and temperatures in the low 20s. And I think we're kind of officially in winter weather. So, today, got to get a roof on. That's really the number one priority. And then hopefully we'll start siding. Got to build a couple of doors. But the real trick is keeping up with lumber. We've been burning through it as fast as it can come off the mill. And we've actually used quite a bit more trees than I thought we would. But we're getting close.
We're just going to need one more tree to do siding. One more tree, I hope. Got a couple of cedars that are high on the list of takedown trees. We'll see what happens. Gonna start working, because I'm just rambling at this point. Well, I think that's about it for this episode. Join us next time as we take down a couple of cedars and mill up a whole bunch of siding. And as always, thanks for watching.